The Metasploit framework has a huge database of vulnerabilities and allows us to automate the identification and exploitation of vulnerable services and exfiltration of sensitive data from compromised systems. It's used in penetration testing engagements to accelerate some of its aspects. It's so extensive a software that I developed an entire course just dedicated to the Metasploit framework. In this video, we'll take a look at its basic usage to find the vulnerability, exploit it, and then launch other interesting modules on the vulnerable virtual machine that we installed in the previous video, Metasploitable 2. Okay, start your Kali Linux machine and the Metasploitable 2 machine. If you want to learn how to install Metasploitable 2, there's my previous video on Nmap. If you want to learn how to install Kali Linux, there's my other video on how to install Kali Linux. And even for VirtualBox, there's one of my very first videos where I taught you how to install VirtualBox and virtual machines in general. So Metasploitable 2 should be 110 and Kali Linux 112. The IP addresses, I mean. You can check it with ifconfig. And by going into, and then by logging into Metasploitable 2 with msfadmin as a username and msfadmin as a password, and then typing in ifconfig also here. So it's 110. And my Kali machine instead is 112. Yours might be different, of course. Also make sure to set both of the machines to bridged in the network settings of the machines so that they'll be able to communicate by being on the same subnet. Open a terminal. First, update the Metasploit framework to the latest version. Update the repos first. If we are behind, it'll tell us that it's upgradable. Get a list of upgradable software. List. Great. It is, so let's update it. The framework has two main parts. msfconsole, which is the interactive Metasploit console, the one we'll mainly use, and msfvenom, payload generator to generate files to obtain connections to target machines in a semi-automatic fashion. It's a static tool, it's not interactive. We'll see this other one in a couple of weeks, I guess. But in this video, we'll focus on msfconsole. Let's become root to get access to all files on our machine, software and folders. Start msfconsole. We're welcomed by the Metasploit banner. We have more than 2000 exploits. Software designed to take advantage of vulnerabilities and compromised systems. Over 1200 auxiliary tools for gathering information from systems, performing brute force attacks, and much more, and more than 400 post modules, which allow for other operations once inside systems, such as privilege escalation, installing other monitoring software, or even controlling the system, activating the webcam, and so on. Payloads are the software that establishes the connection from the target machine to ours. They vary based on architecture, programming language used, and so on. NOPs, no operation codes, 90 in hexadecimal, are used for buffer overflows, which is a more advanced topic I covered in my courses. Evasion modules are used for bypassing IDS and antivirus systems. By typing help, we get a list of all of the commands that Metasploit offers. There are many. I cover them all in my course, Learn the Metasploit Framework Inside Out, a course that explores the entire framework, more than 3 hours of content, highly edited, no fluff. There's really a lot to discuss. In this video, we'll focus on the basic use of Metasploit to hack some of the services on Metasploitable 2. Let's open another tab and see what they are. There's another way to find what the target machine IP is with the Net Discover tool. We could launch nmap from here, but there's actually an nmap variant that can be used within the Metasploit framework. The command is db_nmap. The way you use this nmap version is you just type in db_nmap and then just give it the options as usual, but it will not work because the database needs to be initialized first. -A is basically the options -O, -SC, and --trace route at the same time. We'll see this later on. To initialize the database, you just type sudo msfdb init. Then you check the database status from within Metasploit with db_status. Let's exit, then start it again. I don't think this was necessary, but well, actually it was, because now it's connected. Okay, let's scroll up until we find the command again. There it is, top 1000 ports. It's going to scan the top 1000 ports because we didn't define the port range to scan. We find all of the services and basically the results we already got in the nmap video. The very useful thing about the database is that it will be populated with results automatically. To get all of the scanned hosts, just type hosts. There it is. The services. There they are. Now, let's exploit the vsftpd 234 vulnerability again. We can search for it directly in msfconsole with search vsftpd. We have an auxiliary module, which is a denial of service and called crash the machine. We don't want that. We also have an exploit, which allows us to get into the machine, as we already did in the previous video. If we want to filter results just for exploits, in case there were too many, it's just 2 here, but just to show you how it's done, you can specify the type with search type :exploit and then vsftpd. And now it's only one. Metasploit works by modules, as we see with matching modules at the top. To use them, we use the command use followed by the module name. use, and then the name exploit Unix. It used to be this way, but now there's also an ID that you can reference. So you will just type use 0 and then select it. Now that we've selected the module, if we type options, we can configure various parameters with the set command. With info, we get more information. Back to options. Set them to launch the damn thing and get access to the machine. Remember to use set, then the parameter name, then the value. Set our hosts, the remote hosts, well, it's only one, it'll be 110. Type options again, and you'll see that the field has been populated. It's actually the only one that we'll have to populate. And then to launch the exploit, you can use the run or the exploit command. I think we're in. Yep. Press Ctrl Z to put the connection in the background. They're called sessions in Metasploit. Background session 1, yes. Type sessions and you'll see the open sessions and their sockets. A socket is an IP plus port combination, as you see here. 112 to 4907 and 110 6200. You can get back in a session, make it active again by typing in sessions followed by the ID of the session, sessions 1. Ctrl Z. Sessions aren't lost unless the vulnerable machine is rebooted. Now we'll see that the vulnerability has been added to the database too. To get a list of vulnerabilities, type vulns. It'll be confirmed because we managed to gain access. I covered the Metasploit framework much more in depth in the course Learn the Metasploit Framework Inside Out, where you'll exploit services on Metasploitable 3, which is a vulnerable Windows Server machine, 2008. The course is part of a bundle of 5 courses at 20% off the bundle. You can pay in 3 convenient installments with Klarna. I use the framework in all of my cybersecurity courses because it lets you use auxiliary tools on the fly, like the multi-handler, which allows you to create a Meterpreter shell on Windows and conveniently use all the awesome post modules that the Metasploit framework offers. Sometimes the framework isn't enough to exploit vulnerabilities and you'll need to exploit them manually. Some exploits need changes in order to work and can then be reprogrammed inside Metasploit if we want. Others actually aren't there in Metasploit, but even in those cases, we could use Metasploit to speed up some of the exploitation steps. The Performing Professional Web Penetration Tests course uses Metasploit 2, the Burp Suite, and other tools, allowing you to conduct penetration tests at a professional level. They are professional penetration tests of a quality higher than what I used to see around me when I was working as a cybersecurity professional in a corporation. Become a beast of excellence. My teachable courses are in the description. Back to the list of services. Let's compromise VNC by trying to find a password with auxiliary modules. VNC is a remote control software with a graphical interface, like team viewer is. Search VNC. Oh God. Too many results. Press up. Type aux for auxiliary. VNC. Much better. I want the authentication scanner. So we'll use 5. Let's see with info what it does. This module will test a VNC server on a range of machines and report successful logins. Okay. Let's see the options again. There are too many. pass_file is the word list with all the passwords it's going to try out. And many other options that are of no interest to us now because getting in will be quite trivial. However, let's correctly set the IP. To avoid setting it every time when you're working with a specific machine, you can use the setg variant. Set global. Set G our host. Let's try running it. It says login successful, blank user, and then password as a password, which is weird. Well, how do we try to gain access? Well, with any VNC client really, like Remmina on Linux. Press the super command, the Windows command, Remmina. It's VNC. Let's type in the IP address. 110. Doesn't ask for a username, just password. And it said that it was password, right? We logged in. I'm in. I wonder if you'll be able to read anything. Let me dramatize this for reals. And we're in. We got in. And we're in again as root. We have full control. ID, I don't know if you can read anything out of this, but it says UID 0 root. And that's all for this video. This is a network level penetration testing focusing on immediately exposed services. But don't forget that if we type in services again, there are web servers to visit and test. Let's see if it's added the bonds. I don't think, because we didn't do any module. We didn't launch any exploit module. Yeah, no, it's not being populated. Oh well. Services. There are web servers to visit and test, like Apache on port 80 and I guess Tomcat on port 80 and I guess Tomcat on port 8180. So let's start Firefox. And Tomcat on port 8180. Let's try logging in as admin. I don't know. Let's try admin. Nope. Let's try Tomcat. And we're in. These tests are part of web penetration testing, which is the realm of the Burp Suite and other tools. We could go very deep with this. This is just the very beginning. Let's check Apache again. We have somewhat old versions of Mozilla and the then vulnerable web app. Should be admin and password. Yeah. These are used to test various web vulnerabilities. Yeah, this version of Mutility is ancient. Backtrack was the name for Kali 3000 years ago. In this video, we saw how easy it is to launch automatic attacks with Metasploit. As always, it's just one of the tools at our disposal, but just like the Burp Suite, it's extremely powerful and versatile. This is why these two pieces of software are among the most used in penetration testing engagements professionally. In the next videos, we'll talk more about other tools and other cultural aspects related to cybersecurity, system administration, networking, and software development. So do me a favor, subscribe, keep studying. I'll be watching you. And remember, IT is awesome. It's cool. Don't listen. Don't listen to other people. Don't listen to them. And it's also profitable if you're good